Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Tutorials. I know I haven't been making videos in quite some time, so today I wanted to get back to you and I wanted to show you what I've been working on. More specifically, I've been working on pyjuque, which is an open source algorithmic trading library. The idea behind it is, assuming that you're a person who has a trading strategy in mind, to simply allow you to code that trading strategy and take away all the burden of connecting to different exchanges and placing and canceling orders and so on. So I wanted to show you how to get started with it. pyjuque is an open source library here on my GitHub. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create a folder where we'll do all our experimentations. Okay, now I want to install a virtual environment so that we can install pyjuque only for this project. Virtual environment is inbuilt into the Python standard library. What we will do is python 3 mvenv will install a virtual environment called venv. Then we're gonna activate it. Oops. So now it's activated and we can see in here that it's activated. And then we install pyjuque. And now it's gonna go through and do its thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to explain how this pyjuque, what's the thinking behind it, and how you can get started with it quickly. The idea behind it, for people using it, I wanted for them to do the least amount of coding necessary. Because of that, there is a big config file which describes how the bot should act. So through this config file, you get to describe how the bot acts with a certain degree of freedom. And besides this, you get to also decide when the bot should enter a trade on a particular symbol. And that happens in a function that we then pass through inside the bot config. And the function that we pass through in the bot config has to return a boolean, which is true or false, whether we received signal or not. And if true, then the bot will proceed to place an order, and if false, then it won't place any orders. And it's also going to return the last price of that symbol, aka the price that you want to place the order at. Okay, seems like we've installed this. So now I'm going to make a file. And I'll open it with Sublime. Simple strat.py. Okay. All right. And in fact, I'm going to open for the whole folder. So here's virtual environment and here's the simple strat. Now let's go a little bit into this bot config. First of all, we need to specify the name of the bot. Then we're going to specify the exchange that we will run it on. Inside pyjuque, we are using ccxt, this awesome Python library. It's actually Python, JavaScript, and PHP. This awesome library that has, under the same unified API, I think over 100 exchanges. So through ccxt, we get access to over 100 exchanges. And because of that, inside this exchange, we pass the name of the exchange, Binance, OKX. So far, it works with Binance very well, and it's been tested partly with OKX, but making it work with other exchanges is going to be trivial at this point. And the second part that we pass here are the params, and this param stick looks exactly like the kind of param stick that ccxt would take, if you're familiar with that. And obviously we want to pass the API and secret key for it to make trades. Now the second thing we get to specify are the symbols on which we want to trade. One note here, all the symbols inside of this list need to have the same quote asset, and that is because this starting balance is denominated in the quote asset of symbols. So if we'll have linked BTC and BTC ETH, for example, this 0.0005 for this first pair will be in BTC, but for the second pair will be in whatever the quote asset is. Next, we define the strategy. The simplest way to get started is using a custom strategy. I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but at this point this is the case. So we need to specify here that the strategy is custom, and we want to pass in an entry function. And this is the entry function that I was talking about, the entry function that returns the signal, true or false, a boolean, and the last price. The beauty of this is no matter what we do in here, as long as we return a boolean and a price, pyjuque will be happy with it. So inside here we get to access data from anywhere we want. We get to access market data from exchanges. We get to, maybe if we want to access a Twitter data, a Reddit data, social media data, we can access weather data, whatever crazy idea you might have, we can write it all in here, and based on that return a true or a false, and on we go. The next thing we specify are the entry settings. The first parameter in here is the percentage of this starting balance that we're going to place per trade. 100% means we'll place all of this in one trade. The second thing that we define here is the signal distance. So when our function returns a signal, it will return the signal and the last price. Now, if that signal is true, then what pyjuque will do is we'll look at that last price that we've returned along with the signal, and we'll look at this signal distance, and we'll say, okay, I'm going to place a limit order at, in this case, 0.3% below the last price that we received. In case you wanted to place the order immediately on the price, you just put the signal distance is equal to 0. Note that it does place a limit order, not a market order, in both scenarios, but it's probably going to be filled directly. Most of the time, at least in Binance, if you place a limit order but the price of your limit order is above the actual market price, then and you're buying an asset, then the order is going to be matched as a market order. Okay, and next we'll have the exit settings. So there are two things that we define here: the take profit and the stop loss value. So take profit is a number in percentage, and it means no matter what price the order was filled at, based on this strategy, once the order gets filled, we will place a limit order at 3% above the filled price of that order, and we'll keep an eye out in case the price of that order drops by 10%, and in that case we're gonna sell a market order as a stop loss. So in a nutshell, this is it so far, how to define how pyjuque works, and this is where we have the function, and then this is how we make it run. So basically we'll define the bot using bot config. I call this a bot controller because it contains multiple things. And then in an infinite loop, we execute the bot. In case we get a keyboard interrupt, we return. So keyboard interrupt is Control-C, so that you can stop the bot from executing using Control-C. And after each execution loop, we wait for 60 seconds in this case. So what this execution loop does, let me see if I can access it. Oh, man, GitHub is dope. So what this execution loop does, 4 things. Number 1, we retrieve all the pairs, aka all the symbols that are trading in this particular bot. This is step one. Number two, for each pair, we check the symbol, we check the signals. So right here in this function, we're going to call our signal function. Number three, we check all the open orders on the bot. So if in number two we received a true signal, we're gonna place an order. So in number three, we will check all the open orders in the bot. We'll check their status within the exchange and see if they've been filled, if they're still open, if they've been cancelled, and so on and so forth. And we take actions. For example, if a buy order was filled, then we will, in our case, we will place a sell order at 3% above the filled buy order and then let it there. And if a sell order has been filled, then that pair goes back into trading mode. So one step back, when we get a signal and we place a buy order, by default, that pair stops trading, and after the sell order restarts trading. These are steps 3 and 4. We check all the open orders, and if, for example, if the order was filled, if entry, we place an exit. If exit, then it's good, we took a profit or stop loss, but we resume trading. And that's it. This is all it. If you want to go into more detail how these things happen, we can go inside here and check out all this code. It's all here open source, almost 400 lines. But that's it. And that loop gets called every 60 seconds. Now, let's write a simple bot. So I'm gonna copy and paste. Let's save this as a Python. Simple strat. Yep, replace. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make the dumbest bot ever, and I'm gonna make the bot that always returns true. So what's going to happen is the function is gonna return true. We're gonna place an order there at some distance below the market price, and the bot is gonna wait for that order to fill. It's not gonna place any other orders on that particular symbol. Once that order gets filled, then it's gonna place a sell order at 3% above the buy order filled price. Oh, I forgot to mention, this entry strategy needs 2 items to be passed to it. The bot controller, which will give us access to some of the internal things within the bot, plus the symbol, the actual symbol on which we're placing the trade. Okay, so I went ahead and I logged into my Binance account. I have a little bit of BNB, so I'm going to trade 2 pairs. So let's see, one will be Uni BNB and another one will be Sushi BNB. They're both exchanges, and why not? So I'm going to open the bot config. I mean, I have opened bot config, and in here I'll exchange this to Uni BNB and Sushi BNB. Now I just realized I need to fill up my API key and API secret. Alright, so I went ahead and pasted my API credentials. Now I want to trade, let's just try 0.4. That's about 20 bucks. Strategy is this one. I'm gonna update it in a second. Entry settings are like this. So signal distance 0.3% from the actual price. That's fine. Take profit 3% above and stop loss 10% below. I'm gonna leave it like this. Maybe they're not ideal parameters, but this is just for testing purposes, and I'm not putting that much money. So let's go. Bot controller, as I mentioned before, exposes access to some of the things which are internal to the bot. One of them, a very useful one in fact, is the exchange. So botcontroller.exchange is a wrapper around the CCXT standard exchange class that allows me to update some of the standard CCXT functions to work for pyjuque. And now what we want from here is we want to get access to the price of symbol. So I'm simply gonna call botcontroller.exchange.get OHLCV, and this is gonna be returned as a data frame. So df is equal to BAM. Now what I want to do, symbol, and I need to specify a time frame. Let's just say 1 hour. It doesn't really matter, we're just gonna be looking at the last price. So here I'm simply gonna return true, and here I'm gonna return df df.ilog -1 of close. So just so you know how this looks like, I'm going to go print df. Now without further ado, so as we can see, it very quickly went and placed 2 orders, sushi and uni. So on uni the current price is 38,500, the order price is 38,385, so that's about 0.3% below the market price, which is exactly the middle between these two, I assume, or the last bought price. And it did the same for sushi, and right here it printed. So I assume the first one is uni. So this is the data frame for uni. You have time, open, high, low, close, volume, and date. And the same for sushi. And right now it's just waiting. It's waiting here. It doesn't do anything for 50 seconds, and then it's gonna come back and recheck the symbols again. You know, before this used to have a logger that would tell you what's going on. So there was a small improvement to be made in pyjuque, so I quickly did the improvement and then I pushed it, but in the meantime the uni BNB order was filled, and now we're selling. So let's see. So order history, we bought this, we paid in total 38,385, and the sell order is at 39,537. So yeah, that's about like 3%. There's an improvement to be made, because normally pyjuque, this is what happens. So we get to reiterate. This is the only thing that these are the only things that we're changing from the default, from the example strategy that's on the repo. So this, and also the strategy, but the strategy is really nothing. We're just returning the price and true. So what I'm changing here is because I want to display how many more seconds we have left until the bot reruns. So, but by default, the bot will display some information. So as we update, as the bot goes along its journey, the status changes. So check it out now. Bam, 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 checking orders on, and so on and so forth. So it's quite fast because it moves too fast for the human eye to comprehend. Just kidding, but yeah. So it should do that. So that's what I fixed. I fixed pyjuque such that by default it's gonna display that status information, and right now it's just showing how much time we have left. Hopefully this won't take too long, but probably will. So I'll get back to you with an update when the orders are settled. So see you soon. Alright guys, so we're back to it again a few hours later, and we can see that we only have the uni sell order still standing. So we had placed the buy, sushi and BNB buy orders. They had been filled, and then the sushi BNB order was also filled, but this uni sell order was not filled. And then the bot, I started again. It placed another buy order on sushi, but I stopped it because, again, the strategy is pretty stupid. It just buys continuously. In fact, I think we got really lucky that within a few hours we got to sell at a 3% profit. But this didn't happen for uni, so you win some, you lose some. Either way, the point I was trying to make here with pyjuque is that it's very simple to get started with it, and code whatever crazy strategy you have in mind, or it might not be crazy at all, and just let it do its thing and buy based on the signals that you pass on to it. When you start it up the first time, it's going to also create a database that you can open. You can check the orders that have been placed and their statuses. You can check your pairs, which are 2, uni and sushi. You can check the bot settings and entry and exit settings. So yeah, I hope this shed some light on how to use pyjuque. But I think having this sort of this skeleton, which is pyjuque, then I'll more easily produce nice content without having to code so much. We can sort of explore more ideas and how to implement certain things rather than everything that pyjuque handles for us. So that's my hope with this thing. I'm making this course on Udemy with my friend Domingo, and it's gonna go in depth into many algorithmic trading related topics, and we're gonna use pyjuque for that. And I'm pretty excited for that. I'm working on it. I've been working on it last month and this month, and I will announce it when it's ready. And I think it will really help some of you guys that are having some problems getting started and getting the hang of all this algorithmic trading stuff. So anyway, that was my spiel. I hope you got to learn something today, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.